Broadcasting from beautiful 23-degree downtown Cleveland, it's station WDWL TV, home of not one, but 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and back by popular demand, the Grumpy Jackalope. And I'm your host, the Grumpy Old Man. Oh, yeah, and we're brought to you by this asshole over here, Grumpy Vulture Productions. Damn bird. I did the sound check this morning. Well, the playback. I was like, holy shit. I hadn't realized how loud the audio was. Man, did I have to make some sound adjustments. It was like off the charts. Oh, go ahead, Kathy. Rub it in. Rub it in. Yeah, rub it in. It's going to be cold and rainy all week. Just, I buy the battery for the shit box. I get ready to work on it, and then the weather turns to shit. Yeah, I could not believe when I did the show playback this morning how loud the microphone actually was. I was like, man, if I got to turn the gain down. So hopefully it sounds a lot better today because it was loud yesterday. Extremely. But I really like this microphone. I really do. Oh, keep rubbing it in, Kathy. Rub it in even more. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Uh-huh. I'll fix you. I'm going to call a bunch of meteorologists, and they're going to send snow your way. Although that don't do no good. You love snow. I'll have to figure out something else to send your way. Rain. Man, I can't believe we're not that far apart. When you look on a map, and we're sitting at, 23 degrees here, and you're cranking 70 down there. Unbelievable. I had, as a matter of fact, I just shut it off. I had Jackie and Shadow up from first thing this morning. And I'll tell you, those two, first of all, they're not leaving them eggs exposed too much. But I'll tell you what. You talk about 2 birds that act like an old married couple. I'm watching him, and, when she gives a squawk, he comes flying, So she squawks, and he lands on the nest, and he's got this big, wet foot full of pine needles. Well, he sets it down on the outer edge of the nest. Now, evidently, she didn't see it. They trade places, and he starts spreading this wet glob of pine needles around the outer edge of the nest. I don't know, she was gone for maybe about an hour. She comes back, he gets up, She sits down. She no sooner puts her butt in that nest than she's throwing all them goddamn pine needles out. Every time he brings back shit, and he likes to screw with that nest. She no sooner got them, but get this shit out of here. It was fun watching because she'd leave, and he'd sit there, and then they'd trade places, and he'd take off, and he'd gather a bunch of shit to bring back to the nest, start spreading it around. They trade places again, and she's like, get this shit out of here, you goddamn it. It was so fun to watch today. But boy, he likes to screw with that nest. I don't know why he won't leave well enough alone. He'll be picking shit over here and picking shit over there. She'll come back and she'll put that back where it belongs. Will you quit messing with this? But I've noticed all day today, those eggs weren't left exposed. And if they were, it was only for maybe 30, 45 seconds while, one or the other one is adjusting their nesting position. But I would like to see a third egg. I don't know what the chances are, but hopefully these two are viable. Although they are, they're turning them on a regular basis, which, but let's hope that they're viable eggs and we get some hatchings. And let's keep our fingers crossed that they don't get a wild-ass snowstorm like they did last year. God, it's hard to believe that area of California gets blasted with snow. But it was hilarious watching, especially the one time when he come back with that big, huge clump of wet pine needles. And he kind of set it out of sight. And she wasn't paying attention, and she took off. Then he starts spreading that shit around. She comes back, throws it all out. Oh, I forgot to turn on a light. Let's put a little light on the subject. Oh, that guy looks scary. Oh, it's me. Salute. Oh, God. Ugh. I hope when I go to Mark's tomorrow, they got ocean spray back. I can't take this generic stuff. Man. They must make it out of rotten cranberries. Got to read my note here. Oh, yeah. How could I forget this one? Oh, yo. I was watching. Whose court was it? Oh, I didn't write down whose court it was. wasn't O'Donnell. I don't know if it was Ota or Tepe. Had this case where this guy is driving down the street. This woman is minding her own business, taking her lunchtime walk. The guy jumps out of the car, starts to strangle her, starts to assault her, and she's screaming for help. And this is at lunchtime, right out front of a Chipotle. And she is screaming for help, and she's trying to fight this guy off. And she looks up, and she sees the people in Chipotle looking out the window and videoing it. This woman is on the verge of being killed because he's choking her, and no one, not one person, came out of Chipotle to help her. I don't know what kind of company was next door, but the employees ran out. One of the guys tackled him. There was a guy and a woman that took her to give her aid, while two employees held this guy down on the ground until the police arrived. And she even told the police, I'm out here fighting for my life, screaming, yelling, kicking. And she goes, I pushed him off, and I turned and I looked at the front window of Chipotle, and she says, people are videoing me being attacked, and no one came out to help her. And this is the generation we're having to put up with. They would rather, and I have seen this many times across the United States, watching police videos, watching interrogation videos, court cases. Somebody is involved in some sort of altercation or a police stop. And what do you see? 47 people with cell phones videoing. Does anybody come to the person's aid that needs help? No, because it might interfere with their social media. I can't go help. I gotta video this. And this is the norm. Back in the day, people would jump in to assist someone. Not today. It's more important to video it for your social media than to get involved. And you know, this is one of the reasons that they had passed the Good Samaritan law. That if something would happen, the Good Samaritan wouldn't get sued or have any backlash. Not today. Ugh. It's more important to pull out your cell phone and get a video for your social media. And the police even interviewed some of the people from Chipotle. And the people actually said, no, nobody ran outside. But we got a lot of good video. This woman could have been given a dirt nap right out in front of Chipotle at lunchtime. And thank God for whatever people work next door, because they saved her life. And they were over 60. All the people from that company were actually 55 or older. And in Chipotle, on the body cam, are 20, 30, 35, 40-year-olds watching this woman get the shit kicked out of her, screaming for help. And it was more important to get a video. This is the world today. It's more important to get something for your social media than to save a life. And I guarantee, if the situation was reversed, all these people that were filming would want someone to come to their aid if it was happening to them. But no. Sad state of affairs. And you know, the woman, when she was giving her impact statement, said, there is more burned in my mind of looking in the Chipotle window and seeing people standing there watching and videoing than the attack itself. Because she said, after I kind of come to my senses, when EMS got there, she said she couldn't believe it. She said nobody would come out. It was more important to get a video. It's a sad world. It really is. Then there was a case in Judge Simpson's court. This guy was having a bad day, kind of went off the deep end. And this guy pulled into a restaurant to pick up his to-go order. And as he got out of the car, this guy that was having a bad day ran up and accosted him, started pushing him, screaming at him, punched him a couple of times, and the guy managed to get away and go into the restaurant to call 911 and pick up his food, only to see this guy in the parking lot beating the shit out of his car. Police show up and arrest him. The guy takes a plea deal. And the person who was accosted and had his car beat to shit get up to give his impact statement. And he told the court, he says, you know, in today's world, people are carrying. He says, I have a CCW permit and I carry all the time. But he said, you know what? I could have killed this guy, and it would have been legalized self-defense. Because the guy attacked me as soon as I got out of my car. And he says, I had enough restraint and enough forethought to run in and call the police. But he said, in my shoulder holster was a Sig Sauer 9mm, 15 rounds in the clip and 1 in the chamber. And he said, I could have put that guy's lights out right there and been justified. And he says, this guy doesn't realize how close he came to losing his life because he was having a bad day and needed someone to take it out on. And there's a lot of truth in that. Especially in Ohio, since they passed the new carry law. When you accost somebody nowadays, or God forbid you get involved in somebody's argument and you try to calm somebody down, you have no idea if they're armed. No idea whatsoever. Any store that I am legal in, no one knows I've got something in my armpit because I have a very expensive shoulder holster that really hugs my rib cage. Of course, the stores like Mark's that have the it's in a lockbox under the seat. I don't need to be wearing silver bracelets. But anywhere else, and you know what? 30, 40 years ago, first of all, you didn't have to worry about getting carjacked or robbed. People didn't do that shit. Maybe somebody got their car stolen, but carjackings 40, 50 years ago were unheard of. Absolutely unheard of. Broad daylight robberies, unheard of. But now, it's sad because last summer, the shopping plaza down the street was carjack heaven. They had at least 3 a week in that plaza. And they figure it was the same bunch of kids, but they could never catch them in the act. And it's sad when I have to go shop for groceries that I have to carry. Because I don't know when I pull up to park if somebody is going to jump out from behind a car and attempt to rip me out of my vehicle or take my vehicle. The only good thing is I have one of the best anti-theft devices on earth. I got a manual. Younger generation don't know how to drive one. They don't know how to use their left foot. It's one of the main reasons I still drive one. But then, they would go to get in the car and go, oh, fuck. And then they beat the shit out of you for having something they can't steal. I never in my wildest imagination, never did I think in order to go up to the plaza that I have been frequenting since I was 5, that I would need to have lethal protection in order to guarantee me going into shop and coming back out and leaving. It's scary. It's a scary, scary world. Where in order to grocery shop, you got to pack. And I'm not talking packing groceries. Not more than 10 houses from me. 2 summers ago, my neighbor, who was basically a frail 70-year-old, pulled in her driveway. It was summer. Had to be like around 7. She said it was just, sun was just setting. She punched the button for her garage door opener. And while she was waiting for the garage door to open, there was a tap on her door glass. And when she turned to look, it was some young punk with a gun demanding that she get the fuck out of her car or he was going to shoot her. Needless to say, she bailed out of the car. Broad daylight. Well, a little bit dusk, but neighbors all around. But we don't pay attention like we did back in the day when I was growing up. Everybody in the neighborhood knew one another. In the summer, just about everybody sat on their front porches, and everybody looked out for one another. Not today. I only know 4 of my neighbors. The rest of them around me, I have no idea who they are, what their name is. People don't, they're not social like we used to be. God, you drive down the street, neighbors would be waving. Hey, hey, hey. Not today. They don't want to be bothered getting to know anybody. Of course, now, I mean, it's like locking the barn after the horse ran away. You ought to see the security lighting she has on her garage, on the side of her house. Place lights up like goddamn NASA. A little late. As a matter of fact, I don't think it was a week after her car got taken. There were electricians out there putting up security lighting. Oh, it lights up at night. Oh, little late. She did get her car back. It was close to a total. And she said, I got to have it fixed. I can't afford to go buy another car. And she said she argued with the insurance company. Luckily, it was in that gray zone where they had to fix it because it just wasn't quite close enough to total. And even the police told her, we'll find it parked on a side street. The kid's just taking it for a joyride. No, it was involved in a hit-skip accident. And they never did catch the kid. And this woman lives by herself and is paranoid as hell. She said she doesn't dare go shopping after 3 p.m. because she is that afraid of being out at dusk, even though her house lights up like, Super Bowl stadium. And she said she's constantly paranoid, looking around. Somebody following me, somebody watching me. Got a hell of an alarm system on her house, I'll say that. But to live in your own house and live in fear like she does, if somebody, luckily it's a Ring doorbell, and she can see who's at the door, because she doesn't dare even go near the door unless she knows who it is. In her own house. And she's got cameras 360. She's got a computer permanently installed in the corner of her kitchen. And hanging up from the ceiling like they do in the grocery stores is a 35-inch monitor with all the cameras around her house. And she says, I'm never out of eyesight of that monitor so I can watch what's going on around my house. You would think at this age She'd be able to sit back in her recliner, watch her soap operas. Nope. Poor woman, and this is 2 years later, still lives in fear. And I have known her since 1970. Used to be the most outgoing person, generous. She told me, she said, God, I had nightmares for months of seeing that gun pointed at my face. And this is not more than 10 houses from me. And like she said, it was 7 o'clock at night. And she said it was a rare occasion because she rarely went out and would be coming home at that time. I don't know whether she was seeing friends or what. She said, I kind of lost track of time. I got home later than I normally would, but it was only 7 o'clock. And in that short a time, she said she pulled in the driveway, pushed the button, and the garage door wasn't even halfway up. Tap, tap, tap. Yes. Go! God, back growing up, we didn't lock doors. We didn't close windows. As a matter of fact, we didn't have a key for our house because it got broken. It was one of them goofy skeleton keys. And my father was like, yeah, nobody gonna break in. No. Shit, he used to leave his car keys in the ignition. Pull in the driveway, come home, shut the car off, get out. Nobody ever locked doors, closed windows. People used to sleep with all their windows open. You wouldn't dare do that nowadays. But here, getting back to the first story. Here's this woman at noon taking her lunchtime walk, because every day she would walk around the block, weather permitting. And this guy pulled up to the curb, jumped out of the car, and started to beat the shit out of her for no reason. He didn't know her. She didn't know him. And he's strangling her. And everybody's standing, taking a video, so that they could put it on their social media and see how many likes they got. And no one, not even the staff or the management, no one came out of Chipotle to help. And when they asked a couple of people who were actually told the police, oh, I got a good video, they told the police, not my job to get involved. It was her problem. told the police they had a good video. Then to end on a high note, there was a court case in Judge Tepe's court. And he called the case and he asked the guy, "Did I pronounce your first name correctly?" And the guy was like, "Yeah." And he said, "Is that your alias?" "No, it's my birth name." He asked him to spell it. Spelled correctly. And the guy was like, yeah. His first name, are you ready for it? Was lethargic. His last name was Jacobs. Lethargic Jacobs. I thought I heard this. I thought I heard the screwiest of first names. Lethargic. That beats Famali. What were his parents thinking? And spelled the right way. Lethargic. I said, man, that beats Famali in a heartbeat. Evidently, his parents must have thought it sounded cool. Let's name him Lethargic. To this day, they probably have no idea what lethargic means. I wonder if they happen to be, in the hospital or in a doctor's office and overheard the term lethargic. And while she was pregnant going, "Oh, I like that name. If it's a boy, I'm going to name him Lethargic." And they did. I could see the woman from the registrar of births as she's making out the birth certificate. Baby's name, Lethargic. What? Yeah, you're fucking with me. No, that's what we're naming him, Lethargic. Really? Yeah. You want me to put that on the birth certificate? Mm-hmm. Once I start typing, I can't. Mm-hmm. Okay. Here you go. Lethargic Jacobs. I wonder if registrars drink. Would have been her luck right after lethargic. The girl comes in and said, I'm naming my baby Famali. How do you spell it? Female. That's female. No, it's Famali. Female. Female. It's Famali. Here's your birth certificate and get out of here. Can you see that poor kid going through life with the name of lethargic? I wonder if he met Famali. The two of them got married. Now introducing the happy couple, Famali and lethargic Jacobs. I can almost imagine what they named their kid. Lethargic. Although in court, he kind of fit the name. That's me. Although, you look back, do we really want to look back? Well, yeah. I was going to say, we know why, Frank Zappa, or, named his daughter Moon Unit and his son Dweezil, because Frank was on some good stuff back in the day. Hello, lethargic. Meet Moon Unit and Dweezil. Nice to meet you. Meet my wife, Famali. All four of them go out to dinner together. Oh, man. What's this world coming to? Talk about somebody that got ribbed in school. What's your name? Dweezil. Oh, quit fucking with me. Come on. Not your nickname. Dweezil. Really? Zappa. Is your father's name Frank? Uh-huh. Okay, it figures. Have a seat. You can sit right next to your sister, Moon Unit. Although she dropped the unit. She was Moon. So I'm sure she didn't get too much ribbing in school. What's your name? Moon. Okay. What's your middle name? I don't have a middle name. That's your full name? Moon? Well, it's Moon Unit, but drop the unit, please. I'm surprised he didn't, moon, sun, sky, wind. Moon Unit and Dweezil. I'd have changed that name. As soon as I reached the age of majority, I would have petition the court. Can I change my name to Daniel? From what? Dweezil. Name change approved. Here you go. Lethargic. Kathy, if they came up with that name before the kid was born, yeah. Doomed for sure. Well, if you remember Frank Zappa, his eyes didn't focus in the same place at the same time. No. Yeah, he was doing some good shit back in the day. Like most of the, 70s rockers. I remember, oh God, what the hell band was it? Oh, Jesus. Oh, I can't think of the band. And they were famous. And they had a famous drummer. Oh, God, I can't think of the... And the drummer, he was into using that stuff you inject. And they were doing a tour, the Southern tour, and he was using pretty heavy. Well, they got out to California. And I don't remember if it was the first night or after the second night when the show was over. He made a purchase out in California. Well, the next morning, they found that he was taking a dirt nap. And they discovered that the shit he was getting down south, he had to use like 3 bags. So, out in California, bought 3 bags. Only to find out that 1 bag was like 5 times more potent than the shit that he was buying down south. Talk about sticker shock. He was on that permanent high. There's a YouTuber who openly admits she was addicted to H. When she was a teenager. Openly admits it. Of course, I give her a lot of credit for being drug-free for 20 years, 25. But yeah, she openly admits she had a real serious H problem and had OD'd a couple of times. I would be afraid nowadays. You talk about taking your life in your hands, because everything nowadays is got the old F mixed in it. Oh, that's right. I forgot all about him. Yeah. Yeah, he's on that forever high. Hopefully he went up so he could be on that real high. Well, look how many that we lost to drugs. One of my favorites, Janis Joplin. I was shocked when she died, although there were rumors that she was using pretty heavy, but that one really shocked me. I didn't like all of her music. I liked about half. Well, Kurt Cobain, he shot up in a little different way. He used a shotgun, I think. And if I'm not mistaken, he did it in front of his house. Well, Jimi Hendrix, he used to perform high. He'd get high before a show. It was just a matter of time before Hendrix fell over. Hey, Oodles, how you doing there? Good seeing you. How do you like the new microphone? It was a gift. A nice high-end AKG that looks like something that Walter Cronkite would use. Chet Huntley, David Brinkley. I love it. It's going to be my permanent mic. Not to mention I got a fancy microphone arm I can slide back and forth with it. I can go sideways. Actually, this is the temporary arm. I have one coming that's a little sturdier. I ordered it today because this one's a little flimsy. It's doing the job. There was rumors that if Hendrix wasn't high, he couldn't perform. I had heard those rumors over the years that in order for him to perform, he had to get a good buzz on. But everybody knew it was a matter of time with him. Joplin, it wasn't super well known. Out in the West Coast it was. But that was kind of a shocker when the news broke course, another one, Mama Cass, but that wasn't from drugs. Man, when Cass Elliot died, oh, man. Because I've got every single album that the Mamas and the Papas put out. Yeah, let's hope so, Oodles, for what this thing cost. Although, I didn't buy it. My buddy got a dozen of them to test out in his studio out in Burbank. And they used 6, and he had 6 left over. And he sent me one. He said, and I'll tell you what, I've read a lot about this mic, PC World and Audiophile Inc. and all that. This thing gets a 4.8 to 4.9 to out of a 5-star. They say for podcasting, this is the top of the line. And it's got 4 heads in it. Rather than 1 or 2, it's got 4 recording heads inside. And it's heavy. This ain't no cheapie. This is all metal. Most of them are plastic. This is all metal. Which you would expect from an expensive microphone. But yeah, he's got a recording production company. I don't know. He does a little bit of everything. His studio's out in the right in the NBC complex out in Burbank. And I'll tell you what, companies send him all kinds of stuff to test. And then they tell him, we don't want him back. And he's like, well, I got brand new stuff here we didn't even use. It's yours. Do what you want with it. I guess I can't beg him for a high-end microphone anymore because he finally sent me one. Although I would like to have a $3,000 microphone just to see what it's like. But I'm not that greedy. God, I was reading an article recently. The microphone that Howard Stern has in his studio, nobody messes with his microphone. $6,000 for that microphone. Of course, look what he's making a year, but $6,000 for a microphone. And I couldn't believe it until I saw microphones $10,000, $12,000. I was like, holy shit, who the hell would buy a $10,000 microphone? Well, Howard Stern, 6. I wasn't a huge Morrison fan. I liked a couple of his songs. I didn't particularly care for his style, but yeah, Morrison was another one. But back in the late 60s through the 70s, if you didn't do drugs, if you were famous and you didn't do drugs, there was something wrong with you. And drug dealers would give them the shit. They didn't even pay for it. All the drug dealer would say, hey, tell your friends where you get your stuff from. Here's my number. Pass it around. How much you want? A pound? Here. No, on me. And, you know, the dealers used to be quite open with, oh, I'm supplying Morrison, I'm supplying Hendrix, you know. And then they got a big customer base. Well, geez, if they're using it, got to be good shit. And the dealers used to get VIP treatment. Although, you know, people really didn't know who the hell they were. Security to be like, hey, I got a Fred Smith out here, said he knows you. Yeah, send him in, send him in. Get in the dressing room, door closed. Here's a pound. Tell your friends where you got it. See ya. All right, Rudy. Have a good one. I mean, Christ, look at Belushi. He was high doing the show. Not to mention half the crew, the writers, you know. Everybody had a buzz on back in the day. Robin Williams admitted he was doing everything under the sun. And then, you know, he was an admitted alcoholic. What did he buy as a side business? A winery. Robin Williams had his own label of wine. Now, it wasn't called Robin Williams Wine. I can't remember the name of the winery, but yeah. Admitted alcoholic, recovering alcoholic, buys a winery. Now, he said he never tasted his product. I don't know if I believe it, but and the last time he fell off the wagon, he was filming a movie up in Alaska. And where they were in Alaska, he said, there was nowhere to go. You were stuck in your room, basically. So what did he do? He went into town and bought alcohol and fell off the wagon. Then came back, went right into rehab again. The only thing that made him kick everything was when that surgeon took that bone saw to the middle of his chest. Yeah, I saw an article recently about Letterman. He just celebrated, what was it, 25? Its 25th anniversary of his open heart surgery or his bypass surgery. Something like that. I can't remember how many years. Boy, he looks like you talk about somebody who looks homeless. I wish he'd get rid of that goofy beard. Got that big ass scraggly beard. Easy, Grumpy. Yours ain't nothing to talk about. Well, Ray, but Pim? That's an oddball. Pim. How the hell you come up with Pim? Probably pronounced it Pime. Got to get the Y in there. What's your name? Pime. Pim. Pim and Ray. Well, his daughter's name was Zelda. And I can't remember his two sons' names. I remember Zelda because he got her into acting. She was doing a lot of B movies. And then after he died, you didn't hear about her anymore. I guess once Dad's gone, Dad's name doesn't mean anything in the acting business. But she did a lot of B movies, a lot of horror stuff. That and goth and that. Because she was named after what, Princess Zelda or something. Because I know the two boys, they didn't want anything to do with acting. But he got her, well, you know, the money he had, he paid for good acting coaches and that. And I remember none of the movies that she starred in were really, you know, there were no A-lister stars or anything. They were all B movies. Shit that you'd see in the drive-in on, you know. Oh, okay. Didn't know that. I never paid attention to the boys because, I mean, he'd mention them every now and then, but he talked more about Zelda, and he had brought her on Letterman. He was trying to pump up her career, and then unfortunately, you know, he took the dirt nap, and that's about when her career ended. Because basically, he had said during an interview that once she became like a seasoned actress, he was going to take her around and introduce her to all the directors that, you know, he worked for when he was making movies. But after he died, her career, I don't know, I'm going to have to gargle her and see if she's doing any. All right, Zach, I forgot about that. Cody, that's the young one. Yeah, he'd talk about Cody every now and then. He never mentioned Zach too much. I think Zach got a business degree or something. Because he talked about Cody during, I don't know, it was Letterman or Carson or, oh God, who's the English guy? Or was he Welsh? He used to do late night TV. He had Betty White on all the time. Oh, what the hell was his name? I can picture him. He was either English or Scottish or Welsh. And I think he was doing the Late Show, because I remember at least once a month he'd have Betty White on. He loved Betty White. And he must have had Robin Williams on a couple dozen times too. Oh, I can't think of his name because he kind of shocked me when he announced his retirement. And then about 6 months after he retired, he said he made a mistake and he shouldn't have retired. I can see his face. I can't remember his name. Sucks to get old. Oh my God, I can't think of his name. Oh, geez, I'm totally blank. Save me, Kathy. I'm pretty sure he did the Late Show. And he had, I think he was English. I could have been Scottish. Yeah, Scottish, because he used to have a thing of haggis on his desk. No, not John Oliver. I want to say he did the Late Show. Oh my God, I can see him doing skits with Betty White. Ferguson. I knew you'd save me. Yeah. Ferguson loved Betty White, and she loved being on the show. He had her on like monthly. And he had Robin Williams on a lot. Yeah, Craig Ferguson. Because about 6 months after he retired, he was like, oh, God, what did I do? And you know, a lot of times when they retire like that, they can't get back into. Look at Conan. Conan retired, and then, you know, he was doing that podcast, and that went nowhere. Although I was never a real big fan of Conan. But it seems after they retire, they can't get back in the business. The only real lucky one is Jon Stewart. You know, he retired and then he was able to come back. I can't remember what network he's on. I want to say Nickelodeon. I don't think Nickelodeon's around anymore. Comedy Central. Yeah, I think he's with Comedy Central. I like Jon Stewart. I like that blonde, too. I can't think of her name. The hell is her name? I like her and I like the Chinese guy. I haven't watched in a while. That's why I can't think of their names. I'll have to do some gargling. Did you see I finally remembered to send you the link? Yeah, this morning I'm sitting down, I'm reading the news. I was like, ruh-roh. I saw my note. Send. Pooey. I'll tell you what. Once the doctor tells me I don't have to drink this shit anymore, I'm not even going to look at it in the store, let alone buy it. And as much as I like cranberry sauce, it's enough to make me give that shit up. I'll tell you what, they work cool. I almost burned the battery out on mine. Open the door, flash, close. Then I'm looking in the edge of the door. You know, did they shut off? Yeah, they did. Open the door, flash. Close the door. Mary Ann had to think I was nuts. What the hell you doing? Door open, door closed. Door open, door closed. On the driver's side, I have them flashing red and blue. On the passenger side, they're flashing red and green. Just to be weird. Matter of fact, when I went to the store yesterday, a woman she's looking, and I knew what she was looking at. I left the door open. When did Volkswagen install those kind of things? I said, oh, they've been using them for years. Really? God, I wish my car door did that. I didn't have the heart to tell her it wasn't a factory option. Yeah, she was watching. I caught her out of the corner of my eye, so I left the door open for a while. Flash. When did Volkswagen start using those? I did cars in '01. Been using them for years. I wish my car door did that. I should have told her I got him off of Temu, but I was in the groove with her just amazed. As a matter of fact, the day I put them in, I went out at night. Holy shit, are them little things bright. You open your door at night, you can see them things for 5 miles. It's unbelievable. Them little tiny LEDs, how bright they are. Definitely get your attention. Which, that's what you want. Because people don't pay any attention when they're driving. Take your door off. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I went out after I signed off. I had to go out, I had to make dinner, so I was like, let me go open the car door. I just, whoa! Best $6 I ever spent. What are they, $6.50, $6.70? Well worth it. Well worth the investment. Matter of fact, I'm going to order 2 more for the back doors. Not that anybody's going to be sitting back there, but like when I go to load groceries, I always put them on the back seat behind me. $6. If it saves a door, I'm for it. Or saves me. But the neat thing is, you can make them flash in any color. You can have them flash in all green or all red or blue or two-toned blue-green, whatever. And you can set them so they come on. Now, you can set it for white. And you could put it under the door, and when you open the door, it would light up the sidewalk or the pavement. I like it. I'd rather have it flashing. But you can set it for white light, and when you open the door, it's like the high-end cars. They got them like a ditch light or whatever they call them, where you open the door and it lights up the ground. I would rather have mine as a safety warning. I don't need the ground lit up. I ain't parking next to a cliff, where I'm going to open the door and fall 300 feet. But there's a shitload of lighting options. But like I say, the driver's door is red and blue, and passenger door is red and green. Maybe when I get them for the back doors, I'll have them, green and orange. I don't know. I'm half tempted to order a couple of sets and then put one under the door so it, lights up white. Or you can have it light up a solid color, red, blue, green, whatever. But I like the flashing effect. And so did that woman at Mark's. I was just getting ready to close the door. Corner of my eye, I see her. So I stood there fumbling with my keys while she was watching the lights flash. Yeah, I might order 2 sets. I don't know. I was thinking the other day, maybe if I don't order anything from Temu for like a week and a half, they'll send me an email. Did we piss you off? You haven't ordered lately. We're going to give you a discount. Please order. I could see them at headquarters. That grumpy guy ordered some more stuff. Quick, ship it to him. Grumpy guy ordered crazy wigs. Ship them. What did I order? I ordered something the other day. Yesterday. What did I order? Oh, I ordered a set of green sunglasses to go with the green Passat. And what else did I order? Oh, I ordered another set of cabinet locks. Well. You're almost on time. Boy, his belly alarm is right around 8:30 every night. He comes in. Yeah, I know you're starving. It's amazing. It's utterly amazing how his stomach knows it's 8:30. And they say animals are stupid. He's got a belly that tells time. Growl, growl, growl. Oh, it's 8:30. All right. The air is a little dry in the house, and he creates static electricity. And his fur stands up. Although I love, the other night I was petting him, and I touched his nose, and he got a spark. Oh, did he get pissed off? He ran out of the bedroom. Yeah, petting him. Ding. I figured he'd be pissed off at me. But about 10 minutes later, he was back in. Now he won't let me pet him. Because he knows if I'm petting him, I'm going to give him the old finger on the nose. All right, peoples. I have to feed the walking belly because he's starving. We know where, right here, WDWL TV, home of not one, but 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And another guest appearance by the Grumpy Jackalope. And with that, everybody, have a wonderful rest of your evening. And we will meet again right here tomorrow night. And there'll be the 2 see-yas. See-ya number 1. And see you number 2.